If you want to build a billion-dollar SaaS company, then you need to go after a $10 billion market. Here's how I got to this rationale. The rule of thumb with SaaS is that you have to deliver 10x return on investment. Meaning, if you charge $10 a month for your product, the user, your customer, should get at least $100 or more of value. So it goes to say, if you want to build a billion-dollar company, you need to be going after a $10 billion problem. Now, this begs the question of what are some good SaaS ideas that could easily become billion-dollar companies? This is not easy to do. Building billion-dollar SaaS franchises are really hard to do, but identifying the ideas doesn't have to be. Now, I've done a lot of videos on this channel about how to start SaaS businesses and SaaS ideas. In all those videos, I gave you frameworks on exactly how to go about developing your own idea. You can check it out here, 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 or even here. I'll link to those below. You don't have to go anywhere. I always get nixed on those videos and people say, you know what? Why can't you just give me the idea? So fine, the people have asked and I will deliver. On this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 SaaS ideas that I believe are going to be billion-dollar companies sooner or later. And as I walk you through these 3 concrete ideas, I'm gonna walk you through the principles I use to actually develop them and why I think they're billion-dollar problems and billion-dollar ideas. And when you follow this principle that I'm gonna teach you and learn about these ideas, either you'll build one of these, and I welcome you to, or you'll actually use that principle to iterate on your idea or develop your own billion-dollar SaaS idea. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly the mental framework I use to actually evaluate SaaS ideas on whether they're any good or not, at least in my opinion. And when you follow this, you too will be able to hopefully, at some point, at least one of you, build a billion-dollar company. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you are new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to actually build and scale your SaaS business. So if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. If you are already part of this channel, if you're part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It is really awesome to see you over here. Now, I remember when I was building the first version of ToutApp, that was my last SaaS company, I had been thinking about that idea forever because I was experiencing the problem that it solved. And I kept thinking about it. I even sketched it on my notepad while I was working on a different idea. And finally, I got so tired of that problem, I spent the weekend copying the core framework code from this other idea I was working on and actually built ToutApp over the weekend and launched it on a Sunday night and posted it on Hacker News. That week, it started to generate revenues, and over time, ToutApp became one of the OG pioneers of the sales engagement space. I grew out ToutApp, I sold it to Marketo, and then I worked at Marketo and helped sell Marketo. But anyway, that's not the point. The point here is that that idea that I encountered on my own, and then I solved for, and then I built a product around, and then I built a company around, turned into a category that today has multiple unicorns, maybe even a decacorn at some point. The sales engagement market today is valued at over $5 billion, and by 2032, it's expected to be valued at $32 billion. Now, who really knows how big that's really gonna be? But let's just also admit, in that weekend, I had no idea that this category would become such a huge thing. Even when I sold the company, I didn't anticipate this category would actually become such a big thing. But I knew that that idea was gonna be big. Fast forward to today, now I work with over 250 founders in helping them craft their go-to-market strategy and grow their SaaS companies. I've seen ideas that actually went nowhere, and I've seen companies that went on to raise a seed round, a Series A round, Series B rounds, and I've started to see patterns on what kind of ideas really end up being big. And so on this episode, I'm gonna walk you through 3 ideas that none of my clients are working on that I believe are going to actually be billion-dollar companies. And so when you follow this video, by the end of it, you'll know what my 3 ideas are. Hopefully you'll build one of them, or you'll understand the principles that I use to evaluate an idea, and you'll use that to either tweak your idea or develop your own billion-dollar SaaS idea. And my true intent in this is that more people follow these principles to actually evaluate their ideas, and that way you don't waste months building a terrible product that no one wants. So if you're excited to dig into idea number one, principle number one, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let's get right into it. Idea number one, SaaS idea number one that I believe is gonna be $1 billion idea is marketing attribution. Now let me explain this to you. Marketing attribution is a big problem because right now there's $602 billion of digital marketing spend that actually occurs, and that's gonna grow. On top of that, you've got iOS changes, Google changes, and you've got privacy in the rise, which means that it's harder and harder to actually track that digital marketing spend. In addition to that, dark social is a big problem that marketers talk about. This means that if you see something cool, you'll share it in a private WhatsApp group and people will click on it, and that marketer on the other end will have no idea how they generated that demand. That's called dark social. So $600 billion worth of spend, lots of privacy updates, trackers going away, and dark social on the rise means that marketers spending ad dollars can't actually figure out what's working and what's not. It's horrifying. And so I believe if someone starts a SaaS company focused on marketing attribution and actually starts to tackle this problem, this new world where there is dark social, where there is privacy requirements, but still there's a way to actually track this ad spend, they're gonna be $1 billion company. And again, you'll notice with all the other ideas, the reason I believe this is going to be $1 billion idea is because it's a multi-billion dollar market and a multi-billion dollar problem. Meaning if people are spending $600 billion and they can't effectively track the spend and understand their ROI, they're gonna wanna spend some extra money to figure out, hey, what's actually working here and what's not. So principle number one, idea number one is to build the next generation marketing attribution company so that marketers can actually understand out of that $602 billion, what's working and what's not. Idea number two, SaaS billion dollar idea number two is recruitment marketing. Now, I promise you, not all of these are gonna be marketing ideas. The third one is not. But MarTech is very near and dear to my heart. I've worked in it. Sales, marketing, go-to-market tech. I work with every single vertical, every single category out there with my go-to-market program. But these are near and dear to my heart, and I want to do ideas that I really know intimately. The second one is recruitment marketing. So here's the reason why I think it's going to be $1 billion idea. Right now, there are 11 million job openings right now. On top of that, there are 6 million people that are unemployed, which means roughly there's 2 job openings for every 1 unemployed person. Now, obviously, not every single one of those unemployed people are fit and skilled for those job openings. And a lot of these job openings are actually gonna get people out of existing jobs. They're gonna get someone to quit and recruit them. And that means that there's gonna be even more job openings and still the same unemployed people if the skilled labor is not quite there. This is a huge problem. What this means is there's just not enough labor out there. There's not enough talent out there. There's more jobs than people, which means that if you're hiring, just waiting for someone to apply on your website or to fill out a form on LinkedIn or Indeed is no longer enough. You actually have to get out there and recruit people. And not just recruit people, you have to show them why your company, your values, your culture, the way your company operates, your vision, all those things actually resonate with who they are. People have higher standards for where they work. In a way, their personal values have to align with where they're working these days, which wasn't the case before. So because of this, recruiters are not equipped to actually just cold call or cold email and find people that are willing to quit their jobs and take a new job. That's an old, antiquated way of doing it. Enter recruitment marketing. Recruitment marketing is the idea that just like how you would market your product to your future customers, you can market your job opening to prospective talent, truly talented people, the top tier talent that's out there so that they actually notice your company, see your job opening, understand your culture, and quit their jobs to actually join yours. That becomes less of a sales problem, which is kind of what recruiting is, and becomes more of a marketing problem. And the SaaS platform that actually takes all the principles in marketing today and applies it to recruiting so that recruiters can market to target talent is gonna win big. Because again, going back to this, right now there are 11 million job openings and there's only 6 million people unemployed. And I don't know about you, but if you're hiring, like for example, if you're an early stage founder and you're trying to hire a VP of marketing or a great marketer, it is really hard. It's not even about the number of unemployed people. It's just that there's not enough talented and skilled people. So you actually have to recruit to them. You have to market to them. You have to convince them that you're going to be a better role for them and a better company for them than the one they're in right now, which means that it becomes that much more important to actually market to them, which is why recruitment marketing and a platform that facilitates that and it enables that is gonna be super, super powerful. Those are the first two ideas. Let me just pause here for a second. I start to see a pattern here. So one of the things I wanted to highlight here is that I'm not just giving you an idea saying, oh, this is a great idea, you should do it. It's definitely gonna be $1 billion company. I'm trying to highlight exactly why. And the one core principle that you need to know when evaluating your idea is you have to understand what the macro trend is. For each of these ideas that I've shared so far, including the third one that I'm gonna share in a moment, there's a key macro trend. In this case, there's $600 billion of ad spend, and there's dark social, and there's privacy on the rise, which means that there's a conflict. There's a problem in that spend. And if you have a problem in that spend, it means that there's an opportunity for a software company or software platform or heck, a solution of any kind to solve the problem, and there's budget for it. Same goes over here. I highlighted a macro trend first. There's 11 million job openings and there's 6 million people unemployed. And what that means is that there's just not enough talent out there, right? And companies need to hire. That means that's a problem. It's a massive problem. Every single company is going to have trouble hiring, which means that they would gladly pay for a solution to the problem. Finding the macro trend that is behind whatever product you're trying to pitch people helps you land on an urgent and important problem. The macro trend gives you a clue to the urgent important problem. When you talk about the urgent important problem and then you craft a differentiated solution, that's when you have a successful SaaS company, which is why I have very high conviction, in my opinion, I could be wrong, that these are going to be $1 billion ideas because someone's going to do them, because I know the macro trend is fact. It's not going away. If you start to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? It really loves it when you do that. Also, my team loves it. We put a lot of love into these videos. Also, if you're in that stage where you're in the pre-revenue stage and you're looking to really validate your SaaS idea and you're trying to make sure you're building the right product, you don't want to waste months building the wrong product, and you actually want to get to initial revenues, I have a completely free 45-minute training that I run every single week. It's evergreen. You can access it on your own time and watch it. That goes in depth into how to actually think about macro trends, key ideas, how to flesh it out without wasting months building the wrong product and actually get to initial revenues. Just go to tkkader.com/webinar. I'll link to it below. You don't have to go anywhere right now. Let's go to the third idea, which is also a $1 billion idea. The third idea, now that you kind of know the trick here, I'm going to give you the problem first, and then I'm going to give you the solution so that you can kind of play along with me. So let me explain the problem. The problem is, or at least the opportunity, is that there's cloud spending by end users, meaning people spending money on cloud software, SaaS software by 2023. That's end of 2023. I'm filming this video end of 2022, so a year from now, right? Not that far off, is going to be $600 billion. On top of that, right now, there are 30,000 SaaS companies. So $600 billion of spend, 30,000 SaaS companies. What this tells me is that there's gonna be a hell of a lot more SaaS companies getting created. This is why I love enterprise software. This is why I love B2B SaaS. This is why I do a channel on it. This is why I work with over 250 SaaS founders and their go-to-market. I love this stuff because I know there's gonna be so many amazing SaaS companies being built every single day. And so that's the opportunity, right? And there's a problem here in that there's so many more SaaS companies that are gonna get built. The problem is, I don't know if you've encountered this, I have. Every SaaS software has the same core components. But when you're building SaaS companies, you're rebuilding those components from scratch. More or less, every single SaaS company has a database, it has a data grid on top, it has a bunch of filters, it has authentication, it has data sync. That's like 99% of what you end up building in a SaaS business, and then you orient it around specific problems on organizing that data and syncing that data and slicing and dicing it and doing a CRUD interface. But a lot of it is so repetitive. And anytime someone's actually building a SaaS company, they are rebuilding these components. They're rebuilding the authentication layer, they're rebuilding the data grid, they're rebuilding the filters, they're rebuilding the search, they're rebuilding the data sync engine, all these things. It's a giant pain in the wrong place. And it just shouldn't have to be that way. So my third idea, given this huge explosion that's expected in demand for SaaS software, and that there's just only really 30,000 SaaS companies, is to actually build a SaaS development framework. A SaaS development framework, or a platform, if you will, think of it as an AWS, but just for SaaS. So you have the AWS layer in the bottom, and on top of that, you actually have the components that make up for the shell of any SaaS application. Has authentication, has a data grid, has the filtering, has the CRUD interface, has the database, has the sync engine, and then you get to go in and style it, and you get to go in and say, cool, here's the actual business logic that drives my business SaaS application. I think that there are mini versions of this. There's like no code tools. There's maybe like Visual Basic or the modern versions of it, but there isn't a true enterprise grade framework like this, an AWS grade framework like this, where it's like, hey, this is what we use for our enterprise grade SaaS applications, and you can now use it too, which is what AWS did. They use it to build Amazon, and they're like, do you want to use all the stuff we use to run this multi-billion-dollar company? Here you go. Just pay us on a per minute basis or something. And I think that's going to be a $1 billion idea. So to recap, here are my $3 billion SaaS ideas. Number one, a marketing attribution software platform. Number two, a recruitment marketing platform. And number three, a SaaS development platform, or an AWS for SaaS with the right components. Any one of these ideas I know have a very high probability and likelihood of being a $1 billion company, if not a $10 billion company. Why? Because the macro trends are clearly there. Now, you may start this idea today, but you may not be able to execute on it to actually be successful, but I know someone will. And it's my true intent that someone's watching this video is either already working on one of these three and it's like, oh my God, let's go get it. Or they get this inspiration, like, let's go build that. We're uniquely equipped with our domain knowledge and our expertise to go build it. Or you're working on an idea, and by looking at these three, you're able to tweak your idea so that you don't waste months building the wrong product and you actually get to a really successful SaaS company. That's why I do videos like this. I just want all of us to be building incredible SaaS businesses. And now you know what my $3 billion ideas are. What you may not know is, hey, how do I figure out the macro trend? How do I actually figure out what my SaaS idea should be? How do I validate it? How do I make sure I drive to initial revenues? This is why I run a weekly webinar where I go in depth into these principles that I've highlighted in this video. In this webinar, I'll walk you through how to flesh out your core SaaS idea and how to drive to initial revenues. To watch it, just go to tkkader.com/webinar. tkkader.com/webinar. You can access it right away. You can watch it. It's 45 minutes in depth and it's completely free. And when you watch it, you'll actually be able to figure out how to establish the strategy for your SaaS business and validate your idea so that you don't waste months building the wrong product. If you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. Also, I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics on how to grow your SaaS business, how to start a SaaS business, how to be successful with it. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. If you have a fellow founder, if you have a fellow team member, if you are part of a WhatsApp group or Slack community, dark social if you will, where it's a group of people that would get value from this video, please share this with them. It just would mean the world to me and my team. We put a lot of love into these videos. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode.